Pretty safe to say that any backyard mechanic would love to have a vehicle hoist. While online one day, an ad popped up for these lifts direct from China for around half the price of one purchased locally. I did some research, and an 8,000 pound lift, 110 volt, with a powder coated finish, ALS and ETI certified, with steel approach ramps, a caster kit, 4 drip trays all included, and free shipping to Canada for $1,500 US. I fired an email off to China and the company replied the very next day. They have the lifts in stock and the shipping to Canada is included, but only to a Canadian dock in Vancouver. I was given a name to a transport company who I contacted, and for 230 Canadian dollars, they would pick up the lift at the dock and haul it to me. 5 days later, the lift was at a dock in Surrey, BC, and was in my town 3 days after that. The transport would have delivered to my house, but I needed to have a forklift to unload it off the truck, as they won't have a driver held up if I needed to hand bomb it off the truck. I went to the trucking company yard, and with a good neighbor, we put it into the back of my truck. It weighs 975 kilograms or 2,200 pounds, so I split it into 4 separate manageable loads, and I drove it home in 4 trips. Hey! Welcome to the garage. Today we're going to set up a 4-post car lift. Arrived this morning, put it in the back of the S10, took 4 trips. It weighs 975 kilograms, and brought it home, unpacked it all. Now comes the assembly. Let's get her done. Okay, first step, 4 posts. 3 of the posts are identical, and 1 post will be your main post. We'll have the bracket to hang the motor and the hydraulic reservoir. The main post usually goes on the front driver's side of the lift. Next, you'll have to determine which is the front and which is the rear cross beam. You can figure that out by the rods that connect the safety latches on the sides. You'll want the one where the handle goes up at your main post by your controls. Okay, so I got the main post lying down, and one of the 3 other posts along with the girder ready to be slid down inside the 2 front posts. Okay, so now we'll try and stand up the posts. Not too bad. Next, do the same thing for the rear 2 posts and slide the rear girder down and then stand up the posts. Next is installing the 4 identical safety lock ladders into each post. Put the safety lock ladders into the slots on the girder and let them go all the way to the bottom. There are 4 caps for the tops of each pole. There's a left and a right, and they get bolted into place. Find your bag of bolts and determine which ones are for the tops of the poles. Find the 16 1-inch bolts with spring washers and washers, 4 for each pole, and bolt the top caps in place. Next, take the top of the ladder, bolt off, and attach it Next step is bring the cross piece up so it locks in to the lowest notch on the ladder. Okay, I've got 2 trolley jacks that I've jacked up the girder with, and I'm going to bring it up so the lip is over top of the cross beam, and then I'm going to lower it back down onto the cross beam. Okay, so she's all lined up, and then you take these little spacer plates and put the bolts in, leaving a little gap. I use these trolley jacks to move this other girder into place. Hey! Okay, so have the driver's side girder all bolted into place. Resting comfortably on jack stands in the rear. Passenger side girder I have on rolling trolley jack in the back and in the front. So jack that up, get that lip over top of the cross beam, slide it into place and get her bolted down. Let's get her done. Hey! Okay, both runways are bolted into place on the cross beams at the front. So now I'll jack up the rear of both of the girders and slide the cross beam under the locking lip. Hey. Okay, got the driver's side, passenger side, rear runners all bolted up. It's starting to look like something. Next, we gotta get these cables attached. Get this baby functional. So I pulled out the ram out of the cylinder to release some of the cable, and I'll run the end of the cable up to the top of each post. Got the cables all sorted out. You can tell the bottom cable there goes down and around that pulley and up the pole. The bottom one on this side goes out this hole and will go up that pole to the top. And these two will go to the front poles. This shroud comes off. Take these bolts and washers off. Thread this through the runner around the pulley. Okay, cables are all threaded through, and I just hand tightened them for right now. Kind of important, make sure you run it around these extra pulleys, the big pulley, the little guy. This will push this over when it becomes really, really tight. And if this cable ever were to break, this will then bounce up and that pawl will connect. It's another little safety mechanism. So there's actually two pawls that hook into the ladder. One works with the rod that's attached to the lever by the pump, and these work in case the cable were ever to break. So now that I've ran all the cables, I need to tighten up some of the slack on the cables. I can't push it back in. I could pull it out easy enough, but I can't pull it back in. So I've hooked up a ratchet strap, and I'm going to attempt to push it back in and take the cable, there we go, out of the, so the cables are a little bit tighter now. Yeah, really good. So we're going to get started on hanging this guy up. It goes on the bracket right there on the side. It came with wires hanging out, a brown, a blue, and a yellow with a green stripe. And then it came with this outlet for the hose to attach to. So we just need to pop this guy through this little access hole on the side. So the hydraulic line coming from the cylinder would connect to this fitting, but there's two males, so I need a union fitting to connect the two. I tried taking this fitting off, and I got a female, but this won't thread on. It's too small. So I think I figured out what needs to happen. The stock fitting that came, you take that off. And on the other side, a 6mm plug is in this side. Take that off. Put the plug in where the original fitting was. And it has a little rubber seal washer there. So don't over tighten this. And then you take the fitting that came stock in the end like this, and you put this in here where the plug was, and then this will go on here. Okay, for the electrical, these brown, blue, and yellow with a green stripe are Chinese color coding for 110. North America is black for hot, neutral is white, and the green is ground. So the brown is hot, the blue is neutral, and the yellow with the green stripe is the ground. I'm going to get access into this box here. There's a breaker there. Pull this out. Get rid of these wires. And take this plastic coupler off. And I'm going to put a right angle 90-degree in here instead. And I'll point it up because I'm going to run my electrical line up to the top of the pole and then over and then down. I'm going to use the reinforced stuff, put it in there, move it over, make the connections, put this back together. Okay, so I made all the connections. Slide that back in there. Got a nice looking connection. This will run up and over and then back down and plug into the wall there. Hey. Okay, got the pump all wired up nicely, 110 volt, and got the hydraulic hose with some wrenches, tight but not too tight. Next we're going to put some hydraulic fluid into the reservoir here. I'm using certified anti-wear hydraulic oil, ISO AW32 weight. Okay, that's first time up and down, and we're locked in, we're locked in, we're locked in, and we're locked in. So I'll have to hook these releases up. So make sure you got the little spacer on your rod. Put your rod threaded through the hole. Okay, so got the two cables threaded in. Start by putting the nuts on. Then put the coupler on. Before you tighten it down, make sure the back and the front are both straight up and down. Okay, so we got this guy connected. Put the passenger side top pull rod to the top, so when you pull, it'll release the catches. And hook the back one up same way as the front, but without a handle. Okay, let's see if we can get her down. Hook safety latches and let her down. Hey, hey, hey! Okay, I've taken her up and down 3 or 4 times. I adjusted the cables. The one at the driver's side front seems a little bit longer than the rest. Pulled them up as far as I could with the ladders all the way at the top. So I guess it's moment of truth time. Let's get the ZR2 on there, see how she performs.